My name is Jasmine Leyva, and I'm the director of the Invisible Vegan. So initially, when I was presented with veganism, I was like, As a woman, especially as a Black woman, I just felt like, look, I got other priorities.
We need better lighting and a better heating and cooling system. I thank you for listening to me this morning. And please, give us our fair share of the budget. And don't forget, money for the libraries.
So here I am, this 8-year-old / grown woman going before city council, begging for better conditions in our school system. And most of the faces that were absent were white people. So just imagine if you're a child and you see all these people of color advocating for you and you see all the white people absent. And then you see an animal rights cause and you see these white people fighting, putting up a radical fight for better conditions for the animals. What it does is it gives you the feeling, wow, these white people care about animals more than they care about us. So now I'm older and I'm healing. And I realized that just because when I was young, I didn't see people of other races championing for Black causes, that doesn't mean that those people don't exist. They do exist. So now I can happily get on board with the vegan movement. The older I get, the more important it is for me to be held accountable for all of my choices and decisions. I don't support cruelty. I don't support oppression, which is why at this moment I can't support our current food system. We live in a country where so many people walk around and say, what religion they're a part of, or they're air quotes spiritual. But the root of every religion and most spiritual practices, I'm going to say most religions, is love, right? Is love, is compassion. And when you look at what's happening in these factory farms, that's not love. And to look at that cruelty and go, hey, but I need a burger when you don't, to me, that's not godly, that's not spiritual, and that's not love. It is so complicated when you're a woman of color and you don't want to see animals treated inhumanely, because the minute you just express something as beautiful as compassion, even people in your own community will start to attack you like, oh, you care about animals, you're aligned with the white agenda and you don't care about Black problems, when that couldn't be more far from the truth. Like, I am an incredibly evolved human being who can care about more than one thing. And my choice to align with compassionate living is something that I do to almost bring me back to how indigenous cultures used to function. When I think of native cultures, indigenous cultures, I don't think of the wasteful and sadistic food system that we have now. I think of people who, even if they ate meat, they prayed over it. They had a respect for life. They understood that life was something sacred. One of the reasons why I made my film is because I want people to see that we are actually paying for the cruelty that we impart on other sentient beings. Like, when you think about people who struggle with high cholesterol, one of the reasons why we're struggling is because we're human beings. Our bodies already make cholesterol. So if you're eating another animal that has a similar genetic structure than you, you're throwing what you already have in your body out of balance. One of the reasons why plant-based foods work so well for us is because genetically it's different. It has a lot of plants, have a lot of the vitamins and minerals that we need, which right now should be a number one priority. When I first made my documentary, I quit my job. And I remember I went on Medi-Cal for the first time. And I had a stomach issue. When I went to the doctor, do you know, in order for them to check me out, I went in September. They gave me an appointment for the next year in May. Think about that. Like, what if I had stage 4 cancer? By then I could be dead. Like, that is how our healthcare system treats people with little to no means. That's how our healthcare system treats people of color. So we have to take our health in our own hands, and we have to make sure that we do everything we possibly can to not go to the hospital in the first place. In my documentary, I wanted people to see a problem that they might not see. When you go into the sickest communities, a lot of communities of color, a lot of low-income communities, you see the highest concentration of unhealthy food options. I want people to know that should not be the case. People in these communities deserve just as much access to affordable, healthy foods as white people in affluent communities. I made my film because I want people of color, I want them to see what it looks like to be a compassionate Black woman, or a compassionate Black man, or a compassionate non-binary person. You know, nobody told me growing up, as much as I admired Angela Davis, as much as I admired Coretta Scott King, you know, no one told me that these women were vegans. You know, and it makes sense. Like, they were fighting for equality. They were fighting for the end of oppression. How can you fight for the end of oppression if you're eating it every day? Do we really want to feed into a system of oppression and cruelty? And somebody might say, oh, well, they're just animals. And I would respond with, that's the same thing that was said about us. Do you really want to take on the logic and conscience of your oppressor? No body, no thing, no animal, nothing deserves cruelty. So with all that being said, I am completely honored to be a part of the Whistler Vegan Fest. And hopefully next year we'll be able to do it in person. But this year, let's do the digital turn up and let's celebrate reducing our carbon footprint, living in compassion, not participating in cruelty, getting healthy, and helping those around us find the gift of health. That's all I got.